Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new topic in mathematics, that is solving word problems involving speed. This is tough topic, so concentrate yourself. Here is a question. At 10:30 a.m., Jack drove from town X to town Y at a speed of 70 km per hour. At the same time, Tom drove from town Y to town X at a speed of 90 km per hour. Town X and Y are 640 km apart. A part's requirement is, at what time will they pass each other? Okay, it means they are coming from opposite directions. Jack is going towards town Y and Tom is coming towards town X. One is coming to the other town that is at speed 70 km per hour, and the other one is coming towards the town at the speed of 90 km per hour. So 70 plus 90 is equal to 160 km per hour. So it means in 1 hour, Jack and Tom will cover a distance of 160 km. Okay, so it means 160 km will be covered in 1 hour. 1 kilometer will be covered in 1 by 160 hours. And the total distance is 640 km. So 640 km will be equal to 640 over 160. After cancellation, you will get an answer of 4 hours. Because when Jack just passed Tom, the total distance traveled by both of them is equal to 640 km. That's why we are going to find the time for 640 kilometers, that is 4 hours. Because both have started the journey at 10:30 a.m. and they pass each other at after 4 hours. So after 10:30, after 4 hours, the time will become 2:30 p.m. So they will pass each other at 2:30 p.m. B part's requirement is, how far apart are they at 2:45 p.m. 2:45 p.m. So if they just pass each other at 2:30, so after 2:30 to 2:45, time will be 15 minutes. So actually we are required to find the distance between them after 15 minutes crossing each other. So because in 1 hour distance covered is 160 km. So in 1 hour distance covered is 160 km. In 1 hour there are 60 minutes. So 1 minute will be equal to 160 over 60 minutes kilometers, and in 15 minutes, so 15 multiplied by both sides, so after cancellation you will get an answer of 40 km. So this is the distance. They are 40 kilometers apart at 2:45 p.m. And other question is here. At 8 a.m., Anna and Claire left town P and traveled in opposite direction to town Q and town S respectively. So this is town P. One is going towards town Q and the other is going towards town S. Anna was traveling at a speed of 54 km per hour, while Claire was traveling at a speed of 60 km per hour. How far apart are they at 11 a.m.? So if they are starting at 8 a.m. and the distance required between them at 11 a.m., it means from 8 to 11, there are actually 3 hours. So 3 hours is the time during which we are required to find the distance between them. Okay, one's speed is 54 km per hour and the second person's speed is 60 kilometer per hour. So 54 plus 60 is equal to 114 kilometer per hour. So in 1 hour, both girls will travel 114 kilometer. So it means 1 hour is equal to 114 kilometer. And we are required to find the distance in 3 hours. So multiply 3 on the both sides. So 3 hours will be equal to 3 multiplied by 114. That will be equal to 342 kilometers. So they are 342 kilometers apart at 11 a.m. Another question is here. At 10 a.m., a van left town A and traveled to town B. So here is town A, van is traveling towards town B at an average speed of 60 km per hour. So the van's speed is 60 km per hour. That has started its journey at 10 a.m. Half an hour later, a car left town A. So half an hour later means the car has to start its journey at 10:30 a.m. Okay. Half an hour later, a car left town A and traveled to town B, following the same route as the van. After traveling for 180 kilometer, the car caught up with the van. So after 180 kilometer, car will caught up the van. Okay, find the average speed of the car. Okay, now look, if the speed of the van is 60 km per hour and after 180 km the car will caught up with the van, so the time taken by the van to cover 180 km is 60 km in 1 hour. So 180 km will be covered in 3 hours. So another way is time is equal to distance over time. Distance is 180 km and speed is 60. So after cancellation, you will get an answer of 3 hours. So it means van will take 3 hours to cover a distance of 180 km. And if car is starting its journey half an hour later, so it means car will take 2.5 hours to cover a distance of 180 km. So 2.5 hours is the time, 180 km is the distance, and the requirement is find the average speed. So you will put the values into the formula. The formula is average speed is equal to total distance traveled over total time. So total distance traveled is 180 km and time taken is 2.5 hours. After cancellation, you will get an answer of 72 km per hour. So this is the average speed of the car was 72 km per hour. Here is another very important question. Tom took 2 hours to travel from village P to village Q. So Tom is going from P to Q, will take 2 hours to travel the journey. Jack took 3 hours to travel from village Q to P. So Jack is coming from Q to P, will take 3 hours to travel the journey. If both of them started their journey at 11:30, so 11:30 is the starting time of the both persons. At what time will they pass each other? Okay, if Tom is taking 2 hours to travel the full journey, it means in 1 hour Tom will travel 1/2, mean half of the journey. And Jack will take 1 hour to travel 1/3, 1/3 of the journey, because he's taking 3 hours to cover the full journey. So Tom will cover 1/2 of the journey in 1 hour and Jack will travel 1/3 of the journey in 1 hour. Now we are adding these two journeys. So 1/2 plus 1/3 is equal to 5/6. So it means together they will travel 5/6 of the journey in 1 hour. Okay, if 5/6 of the journey is traveled in 1 hour, This 5 from the numerator will go to the denominator of the right side. So it means 1 by 6 of the journey will be traveled in 1 by 5 hours. Multiply 6 on the both sides. So 6 by 6 is equal to 6 by 5 hours. So 6 by 6 journey will be covered in 6 by 5 hours. Solving this, 6 by 5 will be equal to 1 whole number 1 by 5 hours. And this is equal to 1 hour 12 minutes. So this is the time after which they will cross each other. Okay, and if they have started their journey at 11:30 a.m., now add this time into 11:30, the time will be 12:42. So this is the time they will pass each other. Another very important question is, Mark and John took part in cycling race which started at 8:45 a.m. When Mark completed the race in 30 minutes, John had only cycled 3 by 4 of the distance. Okay, 8:45 is the starting time of the race, and Mark completed in 30 minutes the complete race. And at that time, John had only cycled 3 by 4 of the distance. So it means still 1 by 4 of the distance is left after 30 minutes. Mark's speed was 80 meters per minute more than John's speed. What was the distance of the race? Okay. So if this is the speed which is more than the other person, so it means 80 meters in 1 minute. So in 1 minute, he is covering 80 meters more than the other person. And because he has completed the race in 30 minutes, so multiply 30 on both sides. So this is the distance which he has covered more than the other person. So in 30 minutes, Mark had cycled 2400 meters more than the John. Okay, so this is the distance which is more than the John, and 1 by 4 of the distance is still left. So it means 1 by 4 of the distance is equal to 2400 meters. So 1 by 4 of the journey is equal to 2400 meters. Multiply 4 on both sides. So 4 by 4 is equal to 4 into 24 2400. Multiply it on the calculator will give us this answer. So this is the distance of the race. Okay. B part's requirement is, at what time did John complete the race? Okay. John's requirement is here. So look now. 9600 is the total distance, minus 2400 will be equal to 7200. So this is the distance which John has covered in 30 minutes. So if 7200 meters is covered in 30 minutes by John, so 1 meter will be equal to 7200 will go to the denominator of the right side, and then 9600 is the total distance. Multiply 9600 on both sides will give us this time. So this is the time which is required by the John to complete the 9600 meters. So the requirement is, at what time? So if starting time is 8:45 and he is taking 40 minutes to complete the full journey, so add 40 minutes in 8:45 time. So the approaching time of the John will be 9:25 a.m. So John completed the race at 9:25 a.m. And the last part requirement is, find John's average speed for the race in meter per minute. Okay, John's speed is, now look, total distance is here, that is 9600 meters. So this is the total distance of the journey, and John is taking 40 minutes to complete the journey. So 9600 over 40. After cancellation, you will get an answer, and unit will be meter per minute. QK, because 9600 is in meters and 40 is in minute, so meter per minute will be the unit. This is the formula which we have used. So John's average speed for the race was 240 meters per minute. Here is another very important question. A van left town A at 9 o'clock and traveled to town B at a speed of 50 km per hour. So the van is moving towards town B, starting journey at 9 o'clock and speed is 50 km per hour. Okay, throughout the whole journey, a car left town B at 9:30 and traveled to town A. So a car is traveling from town B to town A, starting its journey at 9:30. Okay, the speed of the car remained the same until it passed the van at 12. So 12 o'clock is the meeting time of both vehicles. So if the van is traveling at a speed of 50 km per hour and is taking 3 hours to meet the car, so from 9 to 12 time is 3 hours. So distance traveled by van at 12, formula will be used. Distance is equal to speed into time. Speed is 50 km per hour and time is 3 hours. So 50 into 3, 150 km. So it means van will have to cover a distance of 150 km to meet or cross the car. So 150 km. Okay. The van had traveled 3/7 of the journey when it passed the car. So it means 3/7 of the journey will be equal to 150 km. So 3/7 of the journey is equal to 150 km. This 3 from numerator will go to the denominator of the right side. And in the next step, multiply 7 on the both sides. After cancellation, you will get an answer of 350 km. So it means the distance between town A and town B was 350 km. So A part is done. Next part is, what was the speed of the car before it passed the van? So if 350 km is the total distance, out of which 150 km is done or covered by van, so it means car have to travel a distance of 200 km to cross the van, because total distance is 350 km, and car will take 2.5 hours because it is starting at 9:30 and at 12 o'clock they have to meet. So 2.5 hours will be the time taken by the car, and the requirement is what was the speed of the car. So now we will put these values into the formula, and after that, at what time did the car reach town A? Next requirement is statement is the speed of the car decreased by 5 km per hour after it passed the van and it traveled at this new speed for the rest of the journey. Okay, so now this is the formula. Speed is equal to distance over time, because car is covering a distance of 200 km and time taken by the car is 2.5 hours. So putting these values into the formula, solving it on the calculator will give us the answer. So this is the speed by which car have to travel at the time of meeting the van. So this is the speed of the car before it passed the van was 80 km per hour. Okay, in this statement it was given after meeting the car, after meeting the van, the car speed will be reduced by 5 km per hour to reach the journey. So it means for the rest of the journey, the speed of the car will be 75 km per hour now, with which he has to cover a distance of 150 km, because remaining distance will be 150 km. Again, we are using the formula time is equal to distance over speed. Putting these values into the formula, the remaining distance is 150 km. Now the speed is 75 km per hour. Solving it on the calculator will give us the answer 2 hours. So at 12 o'clock, both have crossed each other, and after that the car has taken 2 hours more to reach at the distance. So add 2 hours in the 12 That will give us 14 o'clock. So this is the time at which car will reach town A. So this is the answer.
At 10 a.m., Mr. Go left town R for town S, which was 640 km apart. He was driving at an average speed of 80 km per hour. Mr. Ong left for town S 1 hour later and drove at an average speed of 60 km per hour to town R. So they are coming to opposite sides. They are coming towards each other, but in opposite sides. At what time will they pass each other? Okay, town R and S. Okay, Mr. Go is going from R. So here is Go, which is going towards R. And Mr. Ong is going from S towards R. Its departure time is 10 a.m. and its departure time is 11 a.m. because he will depart after 1 hour. This is given 1 hour later. Okay, Mr. Go's average speed is 80 km per hour and Mr. Ong's average speed is 60 km per hour. But the most important thing is Ong will start 1 hour later. So it means in 1 hour, Go has covered 80 km distance. So the distance which both have to cover to meet each other is 640 minus 80. That will be equal to 560 kilometer. This is the distance which both have to cover to meet each other, because this is the distance which he has covered, Mr. Go has covered before Mr. Ong started. So this is 80 kilometer. So the remaining distance is 560 kilometer. Okay. Now both speeds are 80 plus 60. That is equal to 140. So 140 kilometer distance both will cover in 1 hour. Okay, 1 kilometer distance will take 1 by 140 hours by both of them, and the requirement is 560. So 1 by 140 multiplied by 560. 0 will be cancelled, 2 7s are, 2 2s are, 2 8s are, and 7 4s are. So 4 hours is the time taken by both of them to cover a distance of 560 kilometer. So because Mr. Ong has started at 11 a.m., Mr. Ong left town for 11 a.m. and 4 hours is the time that will both of them take to cover a distance of 560. So 11 plus 4 will be 3 p.m. This is the time at which they will cross each other. Another question is here. At 8:10 a.m., Tina and Peggy left town A and travel in opposite directions to town B and town C respectively. Tina was traveling at a speed of 68 km per hour while Peggy was traveling at a speed of 52 km per hour. How far apart are they at 9:30 a.m.? So Tina and Peggy left town A and moving towards town B and C respectively. So here is Tina and here is Peggy. Okay, Tina was traveling at a speed of 68 km per hour and Peggy was traveling at a speed of 68 km per hour. Okay, first we will Tina 68 and Peggy 52. We will add their speeds. That will be 68 plus 52 will be equal to 70 and 51 20 kilometer per hour. So this is the combining speed of both of them. So from here we can see in 1 hour they have covered a distance of 120 kilometer in total. Okay, the requirement is how far apart are they at 9:30. So if they have started at 8:10, from 8:10 to 9:10, this is 1 hour, and to 9:30, this is further 20 minutes. So 1 hour 20 minutes is the requirement. So it means they have covered a distance of 120 kilometer in 60 minutes, because 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. In 1 minute, they have covered a distance of 120 over 60 kilometer, and the requirement is 1 hour 20 minutes, so 60 plus 20 80. So 80 minutes is the requirement. So 120 over 60 multiplied by 80. 0 zeros will be cancelled. 6 twos are 12 and 2 80s are 160. So this is the distance between both of them after 1 hour 20 minutes. So this is the answer. Okay, another question is at 7:30 a.m. James left town X and traveled to town Y at an average speed of 80 km per hour. At the same time, Peter left town X and traveled in the opposite direction to town Z. When Peter reached town Z at 9 a.m., James was 15 km from town X. Find the distance between town X and Y. Okay. Both are starting from town X. Okay, James left town X and traveled to town Y. This is James at an average speed of 80 km per hour. At the same time, Peter left town X and traveled to opposite direction to town Y, to town Z. Okay. This is Peter. Town Z at 9 o'clock. Okay. When Peter reached town Z at 9. So 7:30 was the starting time of both of them. And Peter reached town Z at 9 a.m. So it means He took 1.5 hours to cover the journey. Okay, James was 15 kilometer when Peter reached town Z. James was 15 kilometer from town Y. So still 15 kilometer was left when Peter reached town Z. Okay, find the distance between town X and town Y. Okay, 1.5 hours is the time when this distance is left. First, we are going to find the distance traveled by James in 1.5 hours. So speed is equal to distance over time, and distance will be equal to speed multiplied by time. Speed of the James is 80 kilometer, and 1.5 hour we are actually going to find the distance in 1.5 hours. So 8 fives are 40, 8 ones are 8, and 120 kilometer is the distance which James will cover in 1.5 hours. So he has covered a distance of 120 kilometer. And still 15 kilometers are left, so it means town X and Y are 135 kilometers apart. So town X and Y are 135 kilometer apart. Okay, now B part's requirement is if town Y was 300 kilometer from town Z. Okay, Y and Z are 300 kilometers apart. Find the Peter's average speed. Okay, town X and Y are 135. So distance between X and Z, distance between X and Z will be equal to 300 minus 135, because it is given town Y and Z are 300. So Y and Z are 300 kilometer apart. This distance is 135. So we are going to find the distance between X and Z. That will be equal to 165 kilometer. Okay, this is the distance 165, and we are going to find Peter's average speed, and Peter has took 1.5 hours to cover a distance of 160 kilometer 165 kilometer. So speed is equal to distance over time. Distance is 165 and he took 1.5 hours to cover this. So we will use calculator now. 165 over 1.5. Answer will be 110 kilometer per hour. So this will be the average speed of Peter, 110 kilometer per hour. And other important question is here. At 6:30 a.m., Mr. Tan traveled from town A to town B at an average speed of this. At the same time, Mr. Wong traveled from town B to town A at the speed of this. At 9:30, they are still 96 kilometers apart. How far was town A from town B? Okay, here is town A, here is town B. Mr. Tan traveled from town A to B at an speed of 60 kilometers per hour. At the same time, Mr. Wong traveled from B to A at the speed of 75. Wong at the speed of 75 kilometer per hour. At 9:30, they are still 96 kilometer per hour. So they are still 96 kilometer apart at 9:30. Okay, from 6:30 to 9:30, 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. They have took 3 hours. Okay, so we are going to add their speeds. So 60 plus 75 will be equal to 135 kilometer per hour. From here we can see that in 1 hour they have covered a distance of 135 kilometer. So in 3 hours they have covered a distance of 3 multiplied by 135, 405. So both have covered 405 kilometer distance in 3 hours, but they are still 96 kilometers. So how far was town A from B? So if we add this value into this, that will be the total distance. So the distance will be equal to 405 plus 96. So plus 96, that will be equal to 501. So this is the distance between town A and B. Here is another very important question. A van took 6 hours to travel from town P to Q. A lorry took 9 hours to travel from town Q to P. If the van and the lorry started their journey at 10:15 a.m., at what time will the van meet the lorry? Okay, times are given now. So for van will cover 1 by 6 of journey of distance, total distance in 1 hour, and lorry will cover 1 by 9 hours, 1 by 9 of distance in 1 hour. So 1 by 6 plus 1 by 9. 18 will be the LCM. 6 threes are 3. 9 twos are 2. So 5 by 18 of the journey will be covered by both of them in 1 hour. So 5 by 18 of the distance will be covered by both of them in 1 hour. From here 5 will go to the right side. So 1 by 18 of distance will be equal to 1 by 5 hours, and we will multiply 18 on the both sides. So 18 by 18 of the distance will be equal to 18 by 5 hours. Solving this on the calculator will give us this answer. This will be equal to 3 hours, and 0.6 multiplied by 60 will be 36 minutes. So 3 hours 36 minutes is the time taken by both of them to meet each other. Okay, because they have started at 10:15. So from 10:15, 3 hours will be added the time will be 1:15, and further 36 minutes will be added. So 15 plus 6, 21, 31, 41, 51. So 1:51 p.m. will be the time at which they will meet each other.